Be'ezras Hashem Yisbarach. Yom Rishon leParshas Shemos. Shnas Tov Shinayin Ches. Yeshiva Tiferes Avigdor. Shemos begins the story of the Golus, our history of Golus, and it concludes with our history of Geula. The Maral says that the word Golus and the word Geula both share the word Gilui, hidden within it. Golus is a tremendous revelation, and Geula is a tremendous revelation. The episode of Mitzrayim is far from ancient history, as many people tend to believe. It is the mother of all exiles. It is the revelation of all revelations. Each and every one of us experiences in his lifetime, sometimes for decades, the exile of Mitzrayim without ever experiencing our own Geula, our own redemption, our own Yetzias Mitzrayim. That's something which is extremely tragic. The fact that we experience Mitzrayim, you have to know the Torah is eternal, and every single one of us goes through his personal Mitzrayim. And we have to understand, therefore, what is the essence of Golus. What is the Nakuda? If a person were to think, where does my Golus begin? Where does my Golus reveal itself? So to understand that, we have to take a look in the Pasuk. When the Pasuk introduces us to Golus, what is the beginning words that the Torah introduces us when it introduces us to the Golus? You know the words? Vayokam melech chodosh al Mitzrayim asher lo yada es Yosef. That's how the Torah begins the introductions. You hear that? Oh, that sounds like just a by-the-way fact. Yisroel in the Chazal, was it Mamish a new king? Was it a king that made himself new? But what is the emphasis over here? On the Torah says, a new melech. It wasn't a new melech. It changed his mind. He behaved in a different faction. Why is it what is the Torah transmitting to me when it tells me that this Melech Chadash arose? Now it's interesting to note, do you know what the pasuk of Geula begins? You know where the pasuk of Geula begins? HaChodesh hazeh lochem rosh chadash. Rashi in the Torah, it says the Torah should have began. The first mitzvah is HaChodesh hazeh lochem rosh chadash. Do you hear the connection between the two? Reb David? What's the common denominator here? No. You got it. Now he knew. But now he has to know what is the connection. That means there is a concept in our life called chadashes. Golus begins with chadashes, and Geula begins with chadashes. We want to understand what, obviously, the Golus comes from a messed up chadashot, maybe chadashot, it messed up, and the Torah, the Geula, begins with the real chadashes. Now we want to understand this. Now listen to this, because this is going to be extremely revealing to understanding your drive in life till the day you depart on your final ascent, hopefully, and not a descent. The pasuk says, on this pasuk of Ayaka Melech Chadash, Chazal tell us, Rabbanon Paschin Pischa Lahaikra. Our Rabbanim, our sages, who had insight beyond anything we could imagine and fathom, said to study this sugya of Golus, you have to know the following pasuk, Nevius, prophecy, given by Hosea. The pasuk says in Hosea Perek Hey as follows: Bahashem Bogdu. They betrayed Hashem. They rebelled against Hashem. Bogad is it's a treason. Kibonim Zorim Yolodu. They gave birth to strange children. Ata, now, Yoichalem Chodesh SHLITA. Now their chadashes, their newness, will eat up, will devour the children, will devour them along with their portions, their chalakim. Again, they betrayed Hashem because they had strange children, and now they're going to be eaten up by that newness. Chazal tell us as follows: L'lamedcha. You know what this pasuk sheds light on? Kishemeis Yosef, when Yosef HaTzadik died, Heiferu bris milah. Klal Yisroel broke the covenant of Milah. They decided They didn't want to circumcise their children. Amru, they said, Niyeh, let us be Kimitzriya. Let us be like the Mitzriya. Yep. Mikan atolamad. From here you learn that at the Yetziah from Mitzrayim, Moshe Molon, Moshe circumcised him. Yeah. Now, let's understand this. When Yosef HaTzadik died, Klal Yisroel decided to try something new. They wanted to try something new out. Know what the new out was? No bris milah. Let us change our lifestyle and let us act in a new fashion. Let us be like the Mitzri. That was the haschala. That Maisa was the first Maisa, the introduction, the beginning of the Chadoshes that Klal Yisrael sought out for themselves, was to shed their uniqueness as Shivtei Kohen B'nai Yisrael, Yehudim. They wanted to be like the Mitzri. So they took a new course of life. Bonim Zorim Yolodu. They gave birth to strange kids. Hashem said, who are these kids? Are these the kids that nichnas into the bris of Avram Avinu? So the Chazal say, weiter. The kivin sha'asu came. Since they did this, Hafach HaKadosh Baruch Hu Ha'ava Shehoyu HaMitzriyin Oyhavin Oysa. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was Mahapach. Hashem changed the love that the Egyptians loved the Yidden. And they changed it now, Lisina, to hatred. Shenemar, it says in the Pasuk, Hafach Libam Lisnoi Amoy, he turned their hearts to hate his nation, Lehisnakel Ba'avodav, to come up with these plans to Hashem's servants, Lekayim Hashenemar, to fulfill what it says in the Pasuk, in the second half of the prophecy of Hosea. Ato now, Yoichalem Chodosh SHLITA. The Chodosh, the new course, will devour all their parts, all their children. Melech Chodosh Sha'amad, the new Melech that was Amad, the Chidish Aleim Gzeirosav, and he was Mechadish to them, the Gzeiros. You hear this? It is Peladik Izach. When Klal Yisrael chose a new way of life, they wanted to introduce something new. And the Nakuda of that newness was, let us be like the Mitzri. And the Haschala was to push it, nullify, abrogate the bris milah. No. They wanted to introduce Chidushim. The Torah tells us, Vayakam el HaChadosh. You wanted Chidush? The result is Chidush. Hashem turned. You wanted newness? You wanted something new? You wanted a new way of life? This new way of life, Hashem's going to turn the Mitzrayim who loved you, who respected you, who knew you were the source of their bracha, v'atzlacha, the kol tuf. You were their power, you were their might. Hashem was mahapach their heart, and a new king was appointed, and a new way of handling the Yidden became the norm. Now you have to know something very important. As my Zayda wrote at the length in his manuscript, in writing about the actions that led to the Holocaust. The first break in Klal Yisroel, there was a new Chiddush called Haskalah. Enlightenment, they call themselves. And this introduced to Klal Yisroel a new way of life, an open way of life, more rights, more freedom, more emancipation, more being accepted by the outside world. And yet what happened was Tiferes. And it went on. It started like 250 years ago, and then it continued on. Different things were introduced to the world, and the Jews were always the ones who grabbed onto these new kind of issues. The Jews were the one who went meshuggah for this. They always were looking for chidushim. They were enamored by anything novel, anything new. And they became, as they say in the vernacular, suckers. And they fell, they got duped. And this brought about, as my Zayda says, Germany, for 150 years prior to the Holocaust, was the most disciplined and civilized of all the nations in the world. You have to realize the changeover to the worst barbarians that ever existed in the world even. On such a large scale, they become such a barbaric nation. It became Pashut, people who kill little children, women, old people. It was unheard of what they did. Isaiah said it's one of the strangest events in the history of mankind. It's so strange, it defies all logic, that it was clearly the hand of Hashem. This was a repeat of the Vayaka Melech Chodesh that happened in the Golus of Mitzrayim. And you have to realize it doesn't stop. The Zionism, people are always looking for new twists on Judaism, new twists in my gestalt as a Yid, my presentation to the world as a Jew, as a Torah Jew. It's always got to be something, a new twist. You got to have a blue and a white yarmulke. That becomes the picture of the new Jew. The new Jew, it can't be the old Jew anymore. There has to be the old Jew, not the potato kugel eating Jew. You want the Jew, the quiche eating Zionistic Jew. And they give you the Torah Eretz Yisrael, the Vafarein, all the Narishkeit, that Shtusim Bahavolim. It's such a counterfeit, such a fake. And know what it does? It devours Klal Yisrael. Klal Yisrael compromises. And you have to know, Anach HaChiddush. I want to tell you, this goes to the Oimek HaDvar. What is it about these new things In my lifetime, there was hippies, there was liberalism, and all Jews, nothing else but Jews. Jews are always behind communism, the Bolsheviks, all the isms in the world, Bundism, socialism, all garbage Jews. That's them Jews that fell into the toilet and their mothers never washed them up. And they came out with their smell, they shared their odor with the world. Now what's the Yisroel over here? You know what the Yisroel is? You have to know something. And if you understand this, you're going to be armed. The whole koyach that the Yetzer Hara has to get you and me is one koyach. You know what his koyach is? Tell me you know. What's his koyach? David, what's the Yetzer Hara's koyach? His chachis. Davar chodesh. His whole koyach is, this is his whole, there's nothing else. He has no other koyach but chiddush. That power is what? You know where it says that? In Chazal, it says it clearly. You know where it says it? Yisroel shel Adam mischadesh alav b'chol yom. Ever take note of that? It doesn't say Yisroel shel Adam comes to him every day. It's mischadesh. The Yetzer Hara comes to us with chidush. Now, why does chidushim sell? You know why? Because a person has an innate desire to live. A person is dying for chiddush. And because a person has that vulnerability for chiddush, the Yetzer Hara tells him, I've got something mechudesh that you never had till today. Chidush Torah, mitzvahs, that's boring stuff. You know, it's the same old thing by rote. Yetzer Hara tells you it's the same mitzvah over again, it's the same chakras, it's the same mincha, it's the same ma'ariv, it's the same shosha nagach ezapara, it's the same elu mitzios, it's the same this, it's the same that. My friend, I remember as a kid hearing that. And I remember when I was in Kiruv, I heard this from everybody. It's such a boring religion. It's just the same thing over and over. And at first I was like taken aback. I said, the one thing I never thought about Yiddishkeit was that it was boring. I mean, I knew there's no two tefillahs that are ever the same. There's no two tefillahs, no two shachrises that are the same. No two minchas that are the same. Oh, you don't know that? So there's a lot of things you don't know. And because you're not in tune with what you're doing. You're not looking for the chiddush. You never heard of Chidush Torah? You never said a chiddush. Because you're a bump. Because you're klutz. You're a piece of wood. And the Yetzer Hara bought you and sold you, and he packaged you, and he put a big sign on you. Here is a fellow being shipped by Amazon to death country. Garnished. Chidushim. Every pasuk is chidushim. Every gemara is chidushim. Anybody ever learned the pasuk chumash year in and year out? Every year he sees new chidushim, new midrashim, and new chazal, new gemaras, new insights into Rashi, new insights into Tiferes, new shitas. I mean, there's nothing as alive as Torah. But because a person, Yetzer Hara manages to lull you into the sleep, and you want, so he says, I got a new car. Now that is a chiddush. That's a new piece of metal. Or I got socks for you that will blow your socks off. It will mamish make yourself think as a chiddush. I mean, most people understand that socks are functional. I think historically, everybody would accept the fact that the function of socks was just to cover your feet, and keep your feet from getting cold, or your feet from getting dirty, or to keep the smell and the perspiration confined to the sack. It was never what you call like a suit. It wasn't a tie. It wasn't a fedora. It wasn't a hat. Some Shaita Yitzhak came up with an idea that, the people are such dummies. They are such desperate. I am going to sell them on the chidushim of socks. I'm going to get socks that look psychedelic, that you can't even see them at the time. And I'm going to convince you to buy them and pay for a sock that you would have paid $1 before. Pay $10. The guy told me he's selling stocks now for $15. I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. That's the Keich Chiddush. That's the Mischadish. But yeah, people are looking for Chiddishim. They're so desperate and so devoid of any Chiddush that they don't have, but that's what you call. They sell them this and they sell them that. There's nothing that... The power of the Satan, the power of the Eitzahara, is he says, I've got Chidushim for you that you don't want you call. And we all live with this. He always, anytime the Eitzahara gets a guy, it's always with this Shalom Aleichem. It's like something new. What was that? What are you selling me today? Znus? Machshavas Reyes? That was yesterday. No. Today I got something new. You thought yesterday's Machshavas was something bad? Let me tell you, I got new Machshavas for you. I got perverted Machshavas for you today that yesterday you didn't even think of. And then it wasn't Oilal Yadas. Try this. I got something really weird for you today. And you should try it, you feel disgusted. You feel sick. What am I, a sick dog? I once saw somebody who had an iPhone. So I took it away. I started going to, I didn't know how to play with it. I told somebody, come here, help me out. How do I get to find out what this guy is? If he's looking at Torah anytime, or listening to my shmuzin, I wanted to see what he was looking at. Now, there was no Torah anytime, I think. I can't say over what I saw on the thing, just Shemos, what he was looking for. But I'm talking like sick, sicker, and more sick. Where did it come from? Where it came from? One place. Chiddush. Because yesterday's sickness was really old news. He tried it yesterday. The Satan is the biggest Baldimian because the whole Kaich of the Satan is he gives you an imagination that today I'm going to get dressed up in something new, and that new is going to happen. That's what he tells you. And really it's old ideas just repackaged and put a bow on the outside, and it's the same marriage. And he tells you, this, you got to try this. Now, that's where the Koyach HaSatan is, and that's where every guy gets Vakayf. Try this program. Or try this program. Or you got to get this phone. You ever think about this stuff? Guys, people have phones. Every one of us grew up with phones, right? There was always new phones. I never heard of people in their houses keep changing their phones. Maybe you went from the old rotary phone to the button phone, right? It took you probably a while to do that, you know what I mean? But your father said, okay, the old phone broke. It was hard to do, to get your finger in those holes there, and you figured, okay. But today, they're ready. You get one phone, talk about the next phone, it's just a phone. It's just a phone. That's all it is. Windows 1, Windows 2, Windows 3, Windows 4. I'm telling you, it's such a chiddush, gadol v'noira, and he convinces you with all this. That's what happens. Without the power of chiddush, the Yetzer Hara would have nothing to fakayf you kihu zekla. And the bigger the sucker, the less strong a person's mind is, the less sane that a person is, the less wise that a person is, the more obviously open he's going to be to seduction. Of course, he tells you, you're a very smart guy, because you bought my election. Because I sold you the Brooklyn Bridge and you bought it, you're a very wise man. Now, The Torah tells us, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Barasi, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Banai, my kids, Barasi Yetzer Hara, Kindalach, I created the Yetzer Hara, Hashem says. I'm the one. Ubarasi loy Torah tavlin. I'm selling you the Torah as a tavlin. You want to have a geschmack? Tavlin is a geschmack. It's a spice. You want to have a spicy life? I'm telling you, you'll find it in the Torah. You're never going to be given into his hand because he's never going to be able to sell you anything. If you're not going to be Isaac b'Torah, you will be nimser. You have to understand the true koyach. When you see a person who's into learning, when you see a person who versteht the geschmack of a Gemara, and you want to know how come he's not seduced by a new car, why isn't he seduced by a new gadget? So you know what you say? He's an old-fashioned guy, a fuddy-duddy. He don't chop, he's not in the world, he doesn't know what's going on, he's not with the program. No, my friend. He is with the program. He is a happening person. But he realized what you're offering are such Chinese products, are such inferior products. It's recycled garbage. And some of it they even write on it, this is recycled garbage. And they tell you, that's also the Chiddush. Is don't you feel good? You're recycling the garbage, you're saving the universe. Because in case you chop, it's recycled garbage, and they don't want to tell you that. You know? And you think you're going to sell me this nonsense? And if a person doesn't unchap that, he falls into this. When Hashem Yisbarach redeemed us, he said, you want Chodesh? HaChodesh hazeh lachem. It's the first mitzvah. Rosh Chodesh. You got to know that there is nothing greater and nothing more innovative and nothing that's more exciting. That's why I always say, if I see a younger man who went to yeshiva, or a bacher who's learning in yeshiva, and he has no chiyus and no his chachas, and he tells you, it's not doing it. Know what I know? He's amazed. That's a dead Jew. That's the tragedy of tragedies. You tell me a guy who enjoys it, I understand if you, it gives me a sense of connecting to some higher realm. It gives me a sense of connecting to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm learning Torah with Hashem. That's something. Doesn't have to go to work. Okay, go to work. There's nothing wrong with going to work. You're still going to be attached. You're going to understand what the ikar is. But when the fool who got persuaded that the Torah is old and the Torah has no chodesh in it, and it's so boring, just the same, just sitting there, and there's no excitement. What excitement is there in davening? It's people tell me. I remember heard this from people. The other guy, that's what you think it is? Man, you know, you're like a retard. If a guy would tell you, I said, what's exciting to you? Basketball is exciting. Baseball is exciting. Watching sweaty, big, huge goyim schwitzing the kishkes off. This is, and running around in pajamas. This will get you excited. This to you is a big chiddush. It's the same baseball, the same bat, over and over again. Just keep trying. Boom, boom, boom. That's boring. There's no chiddush. There's nothing new here. when a mensch understands that, the Geula was the greatest chiddush. You know why? Because we became restored. The Geula was we reached new heights of chidushim. Every one of us reached new heights. We received the Torah. That was the height of chiddush. Ata reisel adas, the awareness, the revelation from this Geula was such. There's no greater revelation than that. There's no greater chiddush than that. You have a moon, you think? My friend, if you worked on a moon a little bit, you'd be such chidushim in Amunah, such chidushim in Hashem, such chidushim in Hashem's interaction with you. It would boggle your mind, and it would never stop. The chidushim would keep going. And when a person feels mace, you know what the person has to tell himself? I'm dying. I'm dying in the vine. I'm falling into that trap of the Golus trap. But you have to know one thing, that every single time you're going to follow the new course, you're going to try to chart yourself new course. If you are going away from your source and you're following the seduction of the Sahara, I promise you, I guarantee it, that source and that course is going to turn into such, by Hashem is going to be mahapachit, it's going to hate you. Story comes to mind. A man came from Detroit to my house and tried to explain to me why he's getting married and how he's never been in love like this, and he's never felt excited, and he can't sleep, and he can't eat, and he's like walking on clouds. He was masber midasach. I told the guy, I'm getting the feeling you're trying to make me happy for you, but you're leaving out the big but. Let me see the but. What's the but, buddy? But she's not Jewish. But I'm telling you, Rabbi, this is love at the deepest levels. Nicest person, Rabbi, I'm telling you. Nicest. I let him finish talking. I said, are you finished with all the accolades, all the seduction? He said, no, Rabbi, this is real. I finally found him. And I said, mark my words, I'm going to give it to you on paper. I promise you, I said, I would swear to you, without any qualms, that this person is going to turn into your enemy, your nemesis, your nightmare, your bad daydreams. It has to be. Because you're forsaking your own people and you're charting a new course. It's going to be fulfilled. The Torah tells us there's a pasuk, hafach libam lishtayisam. Now listen, I said, think of this beautiful woman. She's going to be a monster in your face. Think of how good she makes you feel. Now try to imagine feeling bad 10 times over. That's only going to be part of it, my friend. As much as you're exciting now, and you describe me all your excitement, I guarantee it to you. That's what you can experience. This is the course. I said the people love the Germans. You know what they turned into me? The most barbaric, and not against the frum Jews, against the secular Jews, the German idiots who baptized their children, the dumbest Jews in the world, the dumbest in the history of humankind. German Jews fell for the baptism shtick. Are they cuckoo? I guess I wasn't there. But people left Yiddishkeit in droves. They were certain it's going to be wonderful. What are you kidding? They're not going to bother. We're part of the culture, part of the science, part of the government, part of the business. We're the backbone of Germany. Hafach libam lisli. He said, Rabbi, I hear what you're saying, but I tell you, I think I'm the exception here. 10 years went by. The guy comes to my house. He says, I have a message for you. I said, from who? He tells me the guy's name. I said, I have no idea who that is. He said, I should remind you that you had a meeting with him 10 years ago when he stepped off the curb and he married a foreigner. And he said, the message is, you were almost right. I said, almost? No, I was 100% right. He said, if you say that, then I'm supposed to tell you like this. What I mean to say, you were almost right, it was actually worse than what you said it was going to be. That's what he said, you were almost right. Yeah. Every guy in life, you see, two guys can go to work. For one guy, his going to work, he's not charting a new course in his life. He's not going away from Hashem. Work for him may be wonderful, may be kosher. Emes. The other guy is taking a new course in life. He's becoming a mensch. He's growing up. He's fed up with this nonsense, this game, this shiva game. He's going to find a new course for himself, making money. I can guarantee you, the second guy, you are going to be the most disappointed gentleman in the world. Because you got suckered into choosing a new life. And when you choose a new life, that's the beginning of the end. That's the beginning. You'll get the revelation. You'll discover the truth. I just hope that at some point where it's not too late, you're zeichet to Geula. And the revelation, you reveal not that the bad, your choice and pathway of life was wrong, but you're going to understand what the right pathway is. You're going to get back on the sidewalk, off the street, and then you're going to walk in the proper places, and you won't get run over by cars. There's no such thing as a person beating the system. Whenever you're out, you're not acting the way you're supposed to act, there's going to be repercussions. Golus of Mitzrayim, every single individual amongst us have made choices in life. Every one of us is looking for innovations. Every one of us is looking for newness. If the newness is about leaving Hashem, if it has to do with becoming less observant, less committed, less religious, then you know you're being totally snookered by the Yisroel. And you could just now wait. You're going to see Vayakom El Chadash. Can't tell you how many parents have asked me, why are my children rebelling against me? I said, maybe because you rebelled against Hashem. Have you ever thought of that? Have you ever thought of the fact that you said you don't have to listen to Hashem? You rejected your father in Shemayim, so maybe your children are doing the same thing to you, giving you a taste of your own medicine. Never thought of that. That's what a person has to think. Kadosh Baruch Hu should help us to get out of our Mitzrayim. And not to get seduced by these false kashas and these false avodah that you hear, the nonsense that people fakayf you, and to go for this. And a person should not think, of course you want new. Everybody wants new. But understand, where the newness is not going to be like salt water. Where the chidushim is not going to be salt water that'll make you thirstier afterwards. If you do that, you're going to be zeicha, your own personal geula from Yitzias. That's right.